So I just wanted to briefly give my condolences to I think I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess it up, so I'm not gonna say his name. But the Samoan fashion designer that was killed in the Salt Lake City protests. There's a lot of information that still needs to come out, so it's kind of preliminary. But I just want to say that we need to be thanking the law enforcement involved. We need to be grateful for those good Samaritans and the civilians, as well as the security staff that were in those bright colored vests, even though one of those individuals was responsible for the shot that killed the victim, the only deceased victim. I think there were multiple people shot. He may have grazed or, a non-lethal wound to the shooter, the assailant who's being charged with murder, Arturo Gamboa, who pulled out a rifle. So they saw that he had a rifle, that he was pulling it out and manipulating it, and possibly there would have been mass casualties had they not intervened. So I need people to keep focused on that. We need to be a little bit more understanding of the law, understanding of what law and order is, understanding and empathetic towards people that are just trying to do their jobs. I've already seen people trying to say that the people in the vest were not trained and who authorized them to have guns. But at the end of the day, had they not had those weapons, we don't know how that would have turned out for the majority of the protesters that were out there in Salt Lake City. So I know that those individuals who were on the ground and near the gunfire are very grateful that those individuals did intervene, because again, we do not know what his intentions were, and we do not know how far it would have gone. I have seen reports coming out that he was Antifa, but either way, he had an AR-15 style rifle and was getting ready to do probably more harm than he was able to do. The victim, unfortunately, was killed in the process of trying to disarm him and neutralize the threat. But this is, again, back to the narrative of good guys with guns, why we need to defend our Second Amendment rights, and just be a little bit more conscious of how we're raising the temperature with the rhetoric and being disrespectful and dismissive of the jobs that law enforcement do every day. Because at the end of the day, civilians with guns are helpful, but they are not trained officers, and so we need to uphold and uplift the law and law enforcement, so that they can be well trained and prepared to come to our aid when we need them. But I do think that that individual in the bright vest with the gun, who ultimately did take the deceased life, is going to have to grapple with that, and I think that's going to be punishment enough, that he doesn't really deserve, because he was trying to do the right thing. Anybody who thinks that they would have done differently or better, I hope that you never have to understand or know what you would have done, because no one wants to be in that position. I want to also make the parallel with the situation with Krystal Rivera. So her partner unintentionally fired and killed her. But the person who raised that rifle in the apartment could ultimately be charged with her death. And then many people are screaming out, that's not fair, they're just trying to pin it on someone. But at the end of the day, that's proximate cause. That is a legal remedy for you being the assailant, you starting the chain of events and being the causation for someone's death, especially in a felony homicide. So I am not sure if you guys see the parallels, but as soon as I heard the story, I go, oh my God, this sounds almost eerily close to the same situation here in Chicago. So that Salt Lake City victim was the unintentional victim of someone trying to help neutralize a threat. It's the same situation as what's happened in Chicago with Krystal Rivera. Her partner was trying to neutralize a threat, or was in the midst of trying to apprehend a criminal who already we see, by what has been reported as his rap sheet, that he's violent and he's an offender. His FOID was revoked. That doesn't happen for any reason. They found drugs. He's got multiple fake IDs, state to state. We have gotten so far into defending criminals and villainizing the heroes, and we need to stop, because you don't want to be on the receiving end of whatever happens if we keep going down this path. So I just want everyone to understand how violence works. Violence starts with thoughts and words and then actions. And Good Samaritans and police need to be upheld, and supported, because they're doing something about it while you're just making things worse, criticizing, blaming, and on the sidelines, and maybe adding fuel to the fire that is violence. So, again, I have my deepest condolences for the families that are involved in both Krystal Rivera situation, her family. My heart goes out to her family and her daughter Bella, and the police department. And very much my prayers are constantly with the partner who has to live with, all the what ifs, and all of the outrage from the public that doesn't understand what officers go through every single day. That person who intervened in Salt Lake City has a little bit more of a knowledge that I'm sure they didn't want to have, and understanding of what that officer here, that partner in Krystal Rivera's death, is going through. We need to all understand that we never know how things are going to turn out until we're in that situation, and we don't want to trade places with any of these people. So let's just have a little bit more empathy and try to understand what these people are going through. But this is a great moment to remind people to exercise your Second Amendment rights, hit the gun range, and stay ready for certain situations, but try to stay out of them as much as you can. But sometimes you need Good Samaritans and civilians to intervene, because there aren't enough police to take care of those situations. And again, just want to say shout out to the police departments across the United States, our armed forces. I was happy to see the Army celebrate their 250 years. We need heroes with the bravery to do the things that we cannot and will not do, or are not able to do, and to protect our sovereignty, to protect our countries, and to protect everyday people, because we need protection. So I'm always going to be an advocate for the police. I'm always going to be an advocate for the military and for the United States of America. This is my land. This is my country, and I hope that one of the things that we learned this weekend from these No Kings protests is that you guys need to turn down the temperature and turn down the rhetoric. This isn't just fun and games. There were people walking through the crowds screaming 8647. I think before these bullets start ringing out, and it's like you're bringing that energy into your space. I don't think enough people understand spirituality and the realness of the words that you speak and the energy that you call. When you have a group of people like that calling for murder, calling for killings, calling for violence, what goes around comes around, and it comes around a lot faster when there's a group of you using your energy for the wrong causes. Yesterday was a day to celebrate America, to celebrate the flag, to celebrate our president for his birthday, to celebrate the U.S. Armed Forces that keep us safe. But some people chose to turn it into chaos and hatred for the country that you supposedly call home. And I think that's really sick. So I just hope you guys can go and pray and meditate on what it is that you're actually doing, and turn it around, because the left in particular has been the cause of a lot of harm in these last few weeks, and maybe even more than that. And I think that President Trump just trying to make America great again is a noble thing. America was great and could be greater, but it's never going to get any better if we don't take the time and find the wisdom to do what it takes to make it better. If you don't like something, then figure out how you're going to fix it. But violence is not the answer. Crying on the sidelines is not the answer. Villainizing the people who are trying to make the changes is not the answer. So if you're so perfect, go make the world perfect, since you have all the answers. But peace to everybody, love to everyone, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. But let's pray for the victims in both the Minnesota killings and Salt Lake City, and let's just hope that people understand that it's not, this is just politics, but at the end of the day, real people can get hurt behind bad policies and the rhetoric that a lot of these politicians need to turn down, as well as us civilians. We are the people, and we are responsible for what's happening here. So you can blame politicians as well, but we're voting for these people. We give these people license to do and say the things that they do. The media and these politicians work for us, and we have to hold them accountable. God bless you guys, and God bless America. Peace.